Pesachim Daf Chav. Today's email comes from Amichai Gez, and he says, long-time watcher, first-time emailer. I'd like to thank you. No, I'm obligated to thank you for helping me get through Eruvin. I was extremely worried that I won't be able to continue keeping up with Daf Yomi, and then I found you. You immediately eased my mind, and I knew that you were the answer to my fears. I had the pleasure of teaching together with my chashava, with your chashava aunt, Rebbetzin Serach Jusalowski Amoish. Here in Flatbush, she has a tangible hashmana her talmidos and gives over Torah with such sweetness and love. Way to go, Aunt Serach! Wow. My kids love hearing your good morning Rabbi Sai each evening as I sit down to learn the daf. He goes on to say, Hasha, either way, thank you again for bringing the Gemara to life and keeping me committed and excited to learn each day. It's all about the Yomi. With great love and appreciation, Amichai Gez, aka Anonymous. Thank you, Amichai. So we had a question in the Gemara. What happens if somebody opens up an animal and finds a needle? Tamei, not Tamei. The Gemara says the meat is Tamei, and the hands and the kain himself and the knife are tar. We know that in order to make food tamei, it has to be susceptible to kabel tuma. You have to pour in it one of the 7 liquids, one of the 7 mashkim. Which 7 mashkim did he pour in here? So the Gemara says we must be talking about that this guy is bringing a shlamim, and he wants the hide of the shlamim. And in order for the hide to come off easy, he brings the animal before he brings it to the base of Mikdash. He brings it to a river to drink a lot, and that will make the hide come off easier. So now the animal's wet, and that liquid touched the meat, which makes the animal susceptible to kabel tumah. But it's not the water from the Beis Hamikdash or the blood from the Beis Hamikdash. Blood is also one of the Sheva Mashkim, because the blood and water of Beis Hamikdash are not mushar like kabel tumah. There's another concept, a new concept called chibas hakodesh, the love that we have for kachim. That alone could take something that's not roy la'achila and make it roy la'achila. But the Gemara is mesupik if that's enough to make this meat a rishon sheni l'tumah. Now, why don't we say that the liquids in the animal's intestines, let's say she went to drink right before she was shechted, liquids in the intestines, that liquid should go and in return make the whole animal tamei? So the Gemara says either there's no liquid, the intestines are solid, they're hard, or even if there is liquid, that's considered mashke saruach. It's disgusting liquid which doesn't count as one of the 7 mashkim. Now we said the other day that according to Rebbe Kiva, when it comes to chulin could be susceptible to tumah even from a shlishi. So we have a case, says the Gemara, if you have a sheret that touched a kli, that kli becomes a rishon. That kli in return touched food, the food becomes a sheni. And that food touched mashkim, liquids, the mashkim become a shlishi. And a way to remember that is a beer keg. You take the kli first, you pour the food into it, the malt, and then you pour the liquid into it, and then you have beer. So you have kli, food, liquid. The maskara of the Gemara is that even according to Rabbi Yehuda, who we initially thought that says that if a sheret touches liquid, that liquid could in return be metama kli, Rabbi Yehuda retracted that, so we don't have a single man Omar who holds that liquid can be metama kli. We're doing a little bit of a chazara here. If you have a sheret in the airspace of a kli, the actual kli becomes a rishon l'tumah, and if you have food in the kli, that food becomes a sheni. The Gemara wonders, if the food is in the airspace together with the sherets, shouldn't the food become a rishon? And the Gemara says no. The Torah tells us specifically that the kli becomes a rishon, not what's inside the kli. And therefore, we understand why if you put another kli in the airspace, it doesn't become tamei through the sherets. If you recall, we had in the Mishnah Daf Yudalet, Reb Chanina's Gan Kohanim says that if you take meat that's tamei, it's a shlishi. You're allowed to burn it together with meat that's a rishon. Even though they're on different levels, they're both tamei. Rebbe Kiva says something similar. You can take oil that became tamei from a tful yaim, and it's a sheni, and burn it in a candle that's avatuma. Again, you take something that's puzzle together with something that's tamei. Rabbi Yeshua, according to Rabbi Yossi, says that you can't take truma that's a suffix tamei and burn it together with truma that's tamei. And according to Rabbi Shimon, it's mutter. According to Rabbi Meir, on Erev Pesach, you can take truma that's 100% tar and burn it together with truma that's tamei. And according to everybody, you're permitted to take truma that's a suffix tamei and burn it together with truma that's tar. We had the case of a barrel that's on an upper vat, that's truma, and it sprung a leak, and it's leaking into the lower vat, where below you have chulin that's tamei. There's going to be a big loss here. If you can't find a kli that's tar, according to Rabbi Yeshua, you could go grab a kli that's tamei and catch the wine from the upper vat to save your wine, even though you're making that wine tamei with your own hands. And according to Rabbi Eliezer, it's aser. And we explain that's because you don't want to incur a great loss. So Chachamim allowed you to be matam b'yadayim. In our case of chametz, you're going to have a very small loss. You're going to have to make another fire for your truma that's tamei versus your truma that's tar. But that's just a few pieces of firewood, and for that we didn't allow you to be matam b'yadayim. Where do we see this idea? The same exact case, but instead of wine, you have oil. You have a barrel of oil that sprung a leak, and it's leaking to the bottom vat. In that case, everybody agrees you cannot save it with a kli that's tamei and make it tamei b'yadayim. Why? Because you could still use that oil to light a candle. Even though wine, you could use it as perfume. So one of the pshatim is, we're talking about wine that's new. So it's not really perfume. So maybe you should save it to next year. We're worried about a takala. You might use that wine while you're saving it. When it comes to oil, he put the oil into a barrel that's disgusting. So we're not concerned he's going to use it. But to put wine in a barrel that's disgusting, that will defeat the purpose. It's no longer going to be usable for perfume. So in fact, in Machlokes Tanoim, if we have to be concerned about a takala that you might come to use it. The case is, you have a barrel of truma that became tamei. According to Bishamai, pour it out. According to Beis Hillel, we're not concerned for takala. You can use it for perfume. Rabbi Shmuel says we are concerned for takala. That's why if you're in a field, pour it out. If you're in a house, use it for perfume. Second lashon is if it's brand new, spill it out. If it's old, use it for perfume. Now, Rabbi Shmuel is not considered a third opinion that comes in Zmachriya because he brought up something that wasn't discussed by the first two opinions, and that is a field and a house. Have a wonderful day.